Hey, Philip, welcome to the stream. Yeah, today ought to be pretty interesting. It can either go really bad or really good. There really doesn't seem to be much in between on this, so we'll kind of see how it goes. Hey, Lord Henry, welcome. Honestly, I can't remember where I left it, Lord Henry. I know we're going to do it before the big fight. It's just a question of whether I do it right off the bat or before or after this first intro section. If I have enough action economy, then I'll take care of this first section and then take a long rest and do my respecs during the long rest, since I'll be at camp anyway. If I need to take the long rest because I'm already short on action economy, then I'll just get it done at the start. But we'll see. Yeah, we are definitely going to do a respec here early on in the stream. Because, yeah, we want to get our builds started here and progressing the right way. Hey, David, welcome. A lot of the builds aren't really going to start taking off until level 6-ish, sometimes level 7, so into Act 2. But I think we need to get them started. And we're gonna prep one build for something that we'll be doing next week. That will be purely temporary in nature. Um, Karlach, I think most of us probably know how Karlach's build is going to go. But soul coins are obviously going to play a big part in her upping her damage potential. It's but I think we should, and I've kind of alluded to it, but I think we should know kind of what her build is going to focus on in the early part here. But yes, if you're thinking that I'm going the monk route with her legendary, that's not where I'm going with her. Yeah, their games were their original IP games in the DOS franchise were very, very well acclaimed. I haven't played either of them. Well, I can't. That's not true. I played the original DOS game when it came out, but just for a little bit. I was really busy during that time when it came out, and then didn't come back to DOS 2 because I didn't really finish the original DOS game. But yeah, no, very, very well acclaimed. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode number 12 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode gameplay series. I'm Commander Droval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, nothing really on admin notes. Jumping into the recap, at the end of last week's episode, we had made our way into the Whispering Depths just to do an initial drop-in and start checking it out. Off stream, I did do inventory management, so I went through and sold off all of my items and that sort of stuff. Took care of all that, got that kind of knocked out, and now we're sitting in the Whispering Depths and kind of ready to kick off our exploration through this. Now, I honestly can't remember. We're going to jump in here. I honestly can't remember where I left this on action economy. And that's going to determine when we do our respecs. We are going to do a round of respecs here early on in this live stream. It's just when. And I need to determine that based upon where my action economy is here. Okay, so it looks like we have full action economy here.
Wizard, not a cat burglar.
Yeah, so we're going to, instead of doing a respec right off the bat, we are going to move into this area here, and we're going to take care of an encounter. Then we're going to do some explorations down here, and then we will take another long rest and do our respec while we're at camp. So I think that's the best use of our time here. So we're going to move forward into this area. Kind of take a look at what we're dealing with. So we saw a little bit of this last week. And we have some stationary monsters and some patrolling monsters. The Ettercaps we talked about last week. They are infested, which is bad for us. If we hit them with a melee attack, the infestation is going to spread towards us, and that means we're going to be taking piercing and poison damage each turn, which is bad. We don't want that to happen. They can also cast web, and they have a multi-attack that works against any enemy that is either enwebbed or poisoned. And those are the two main attacks that we're going to be getting from the Phase Spider. We're going to get poisoned by the Phase Spiders, we're going to get enwebbed by the Ettercaps, and that's kind of how those two enemies synergize together. Now, there are two Phase Spiders that patrol. The Ettercaps, there are two of them, and they do not move. They're stationary. So the Phase Spiders, in addition to their ethereal jaunt movement, which is basically Misty Step, they have the condition See Invisibility. That means any creature that gets within 9 meters of them, they need to make a dexterity saving throw, or they're going to lose that invisibility. Now, that makes it a little bit harder to generate a surprise round here, because I can't get within range of the Phase Spiders, or else they're going to knock me out of invisibility with Shovel, and I'm not going to be able to generate a surprise round. So that means if we're going to generate a surprise round, we have to do it against this Ettercap over here. And that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to watch our detection cones here. It looks like we should be okay coming down now. We're going to make our way over to this side. I'm going to go into turn-based mode here and just survey where we're at. Okay. So I think this is going to be a good spot to do this. So we're going to try and generate a surprise round here by attacking the Ettercap. Now, Shovel may end up taking enough damage here that it kills him, and if that case, we won't be able to generate a surprise round, but we'll see if we can generate it and keep him alive for after the initial attack here. Okay. So we generated a surprise round.
I'm just waiting. The element of surprise.
And let's look and see who are no longer surprised. So the two Phase Spiders are no longer surprised. That's unfortunate. I would have preferred to have gotten attacks against them. I mean, technically they still have the surprise condition, but I don't know if that is going to actually generate
Really? Now?
anything here or not from his assassinate ambush. We can always test it out and see if it's going to work. Because I would like to remove the phase spiders if possible. I'm going to be taking a long rest anyway. Okay, so it did generate crits. So that was good. Took one completely down, which is what I wanted to have happen here.
Don't want to think about why my eye is itching. Time to press ahead.
Okay, because now my detection cones have shifted, which is exactly what I wanted to see.
Shadow lag.
So we're going to move Karlach down here, but we're going to keep the high ground by moving probably up to here if I can get a line there. We'll see if it's going to work or not. Okay, so I can get a hit here.
That's it. Don't mind me.
Do I still have? I do still have my 20 armor class. Would like to absorb any possible attacks here with my bard. Okay, let's move here. 15. I don't think I'll need it to kill. I should have critted because the other one was a miss. Nice.
Onward.
Guarantee that kill there. Okay. So now we'll head back to Shovel here. And since we did generate the surprise round against the Ettercap here, he's not taking any reactions. So let's go ahead and move Shovel out of here. So Astarion's invisible because of his previous kill, so we're definitely going to get advantage on this. Let's move up to the high ground here. And we'll get a sneak attack on the other cap. Oh, huge hit. Okay, that really eliminated the only big damage source I was going to be dealing with. The rest of this is... I'm going to be able to deal with this Eder cap at range without a problem. So let's go get Astarion on this high ground over here.
I can't even catch my breath. Another step forward.
I don't fancy their chances.
Gale, I'll just move back.
Good move.
This is gonna feel good.
I don't need to.
Jimmy on the go.
Okay, now I'm going to use shovel to draw this Eder cap back towards me this way. Okay, so he decided not to move. That's fine.
A better position.
Let's attempt to move across here. If we get stuck, we get stuck, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Okay, so we saved once. And was in red. But again, he's invisible for another turn.
Nothing important.
So not really worried too much about that.
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
Creator. Destroyer.
I'm gonna leave Gale back here where he is.
Count on me. See if I can sneak a line of sight in here. Oh, and of course, my returning pike did not return. Where is it? Okay. Because I knew a bow shot wasn't going to arc over the top of that, but I was hoping that a thrown item would, but I don't have anything that I can throw. So her frenzy's gonna go away. Okay, come in this way. That's fine.
They won't know what bit them.
They're dying for me. All of them.
Probably not going to be able to get a
Into
shot
the bloody
here.
fray.
Ready for another round?
Let's go with Karlach. Hopefully hit twice. Perfect. He's got 10 left.
Another fight. Let's go.
This is probably too far. Still got a decent chance to hit them.
And I'll just have Gale finish this off. Hopefully, finish this off. Now, let's go quickly down here and find out if my pike is permanently gone. Nope, there it is.
Wish I had a bag of holding.
Okay. We'll group everybody up. Including Shovel. Well done, Shovel. Thank you for your help. If you haven't grasped yet, Shuffle being able to be invisible as a class action is going to be the one to help us generate our surprise rounds. That ability for him to, without wasting any action economy, to go invisible and then stay invisible without a turn limit is going to allow us to hopefully generate surprise rounds and then move our characters into those positions. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see how well that's going to work out throughout the entire playthrough. But that's the plan for now anyway. So we'll just do some quick looking around here. Don't forget to break the spider silk cocoons that you see above you. Because they will drop items. Whether or not you can grab them or not is another story. But sometimes they glitch out and you're not able to grab them up there. Okay, so this area here we're not going to progress into. You can kind of start to see what else is down here. This whole area is what we're going to come back to after we do our set of respecs. So we're going to do a bunch of searching down here first. Okay, and the silk glands for a web grenade are really nice. The web grenades are extraordinarily useful. Basically a thrown version of web. Okay, and now we come across this body and this pack here. What the game intends you to do is to come down here first before you head into the Necromancer's lair and read the Apprentice's Journal here. And you learn more about the Zolkirs, who they are, and you learn more about Ilantoth and that sort of stuff. And this gives you answers to be able to solve the questions from the mirror. And we're gonna get the Spurred Band. During combat, when the wearer starts their turn with 50% hit points or less, they gain momentum. Momentum gives you a boost to your movement for one turn, so it basically allows you to help disengage if you get hurt. If you don't have any other rings, certainly something good to put on just for that problem case, which we could very well run into. And you're normally going to find quite a few healing potions down here. And you're going to need them. Spoiler alert. Okay, so we've been up here. We're just going to pick up these couple of torches. Just open up the rest of the map. This leads you back into the basement out underneath the blacksmith shop, where we brought Shovel in. Okay, and one more over here somewhere. There it is. Like I say, some of these you might not be able to reach depending upon where they drop. It just kind of depends. A little bit is luck-based, where the game decides to spawn them. But you can see they kind of pop out, and it really depends. So we're going to destroy the spider web. That's going to cause the backpack to drop. We're going to head down this passageway here. Actually, while we're here,
How delicious.
we'll go search the skeleton real quick. Okay, nothing there. And you come into this little area here. Now there's going to be some stuff that you can search, but there's also going to be a very important item down here. And the shovel is not it, even though shovels are always very important. Again, a whole bunch of stuff that you're going to be able to pick up. Okay, and then here you have the first of several journals that are down here. Okay, and you learn that somebody's trying to, and you can see the spider on the cover. Somebody is worshiping Lolth down here, the Spider Queen. And it mentions something about her form. And again, climbing. Okay, everybody stop climbing around. Pathing.
A little souvenir.
Okay, and then here you're going to have the Bloody Journal. And in this, again, you find out that there is an elf named Eliette, who is a worshiper of Lolth. And you're finding out more that she really wants to exalt herself to her queen. And here you learn more about it. It is time I will forever transcend this blasphemous flesh and refashion myself in the queen's image. Today, I shall be its matriarch. And that kind of lets you know what's happening down here, that we're gonna, and who we're gonna run into later. Now here you have the spider step boots. These are incredibly important for what we're about to do. You're immune to being enwebbed, and your movement speed is not affected by web surfaces. We're gonna put these on one of my characters to start, and then we may or may not change them to a different character later on. But for now, we're gonna put them on Astarion. And there's the last journal here. And again, you learn that Lolth has been sending her daughters to reward her faith and gave her this pair of boots. And she is wanting to transcend. web spell for Gale. Very nice. Here on the table, you're going to have some more stuff that you can pick up. And over here, the last set of stuff that you can take. Don't know if you can pick up the ladle or not here. Yeah, looks like no. Okay, so we're going to head, actually, a couple more places we need to go. Another backpack here. Great sword and shield from the body that's laying over here. And here's the bucket. This bucket takes you up to the well, up top. So if you want to start this whole area off and grab the spider step boots before you do that first combat encounter, you certainly can by just coming down the well here. And that leads you right around the corner and straight into that area. And you can get in there and pick up the spider step boots before you go deal with the ettercaps and the phase spiders. In my opinion, you don't really need it for that first encounter, but it doesn't hurt to have it. And here we might get into one that's spawned up top and we can't grab it. Yeah. Some of these things you won't be able to grab. Just is what it is. Yep. Some of them are going to be a little glitchy like that. Okay, so I think that pretty much clears out everything on this side. Let's head down, we'll head over to the other side. And we'll search this all up before we head to camp. Okay, so here's the area that we're going to be heading into. Okay, and here's the other way into this area. So here we're going to take our long rest, and let's, before we do that, oh yeah, this is, let's put items in trash bags. We're keeping that robe.
Oh, I have the magic touch.
And then we will send as much of this stuff to Astarion as we can here. We're not going to need any of these backpacks. Oops. And now all of this. into a trash bag. Okay, and I think that gets us ready here.
At least things have stayed interesting.
Okay, so let's go to camp, and we're going to take our long rest, and we're going to go through some respecs here. We want to have full action economy. We're only down 2 spell slots from Gale. But still, before we do this, we picked up the returning pike. Let's just make sure that we've got that situated. Okay. So while we're here, we'll quickly run around, see if there are any conversations.
Welcome to the League of the Lone Eye, my friend. Not to minimize the pain of Volo's poking and prodding, but I promise, you'll be used to the prosthesis in no time. Besides, I find it gives one an air of mystique. No one's more intriguing than a woman with one eye.
Okay, so the same as Gale now. And actually, I do not like this camp at all.
I had another visit from that dream figure. I take it you did too. It claims that if we infiltrate the heart of the cult that's giving out these parasites, we'll find the answers we're looking for. It gave me another gift, too. Just like it did the first time it appeared. Rather generous, if you ask me. And if that fails, then there's always killing them quietly. Now, was there anything else?
Okay, nothing new from Astarion. Let's go talk to Lae'zel.
Ever since we shared each other's flesh, I've caught you looking at me with lidded eyes. And either like a coward or a fool, you tremble. Perhaps the parasite has weakened you. Or perhaps you still long for my taste. I never promised more than a night. Though I can't deny the lure of your taste. Sweet, yes, but also bitter as ginger. Tempt me.
I have actually never gone down a romance path with Lae'zel before. It's rather interesting.
Like the shield bearer and pikemen must train to march their formation in tandem. Very well. I will claim you once you have taken to rest.
Okay, well.
Yes. Good.
We will have to check and see if I have stream safe on here or not, and then I'll be quickly ready to to turn off the window just in case.
What's on your mind?
I've been dreaming of our enigmatic visitor again. She told me our purpose was to take on this cult of the Absolute, to infiltrate its ranks and bring it down from the inside. She even offered me greater powers, the result of some manipulation of the tadpole's psionic abilities. Given the magnitude of what we're up against, I see no harm in considering the benefit this offer might afford us. Could be the only way to reach this source in one piece. As existential evils go, the Absolute certainly seems an adversary worth holding in its tracks. Any opportunities for us to indulge our tadpole's capabilities are hardly on the same scale. Trifles, when one considers the bigger picture.
Okay, talk to Shadowheart and Halson, and then we'll do a respec.
I had another dream. Which, I suppose, means you did as well. Whoever's reaching out to us truly does seem opposed to the Absolute, but wants us to embrace the tadpole. Venture right into the heart of the cult. Perhaps we truly have a secret protector. Or we're walking into a trap.
Okay, so nothing new here.
Oakfather's blessings to you.
And I'll go through all of, we've seen all of these conversation options before, and some of his conversation options don't clear out. But we'll take a look at those a little bit later. So let's start talking about our respecs. So there's a couple of things that we want to do here, and the first is we're going to start with Karlach. Let's go look at Astarion first.
Yes, let's. On the hunt. What can we risk?
Okay, so Withers doesn't have any gold, which is good, so we'll go to Karlach and we'll start with a respec here.
Ah, another. Thy name has been recorded. I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services. As thou desire.
Okay, now we're going to stick with Karlach as a barbarian to start. For her ability scores, her starting ability scores are, I would say, fairly well laid out. The only change I'm going to make here is dropping her wisdom down so I can up her dexterity. This is going to give me a +2 bonus to her armor class, get her 1 point higher on her initiative rolls as well. So I'm just going to bump that up. Her constitution and her strength are good where they are. I want that strength to be a +3 bonus right now, which is what we're getting out of it. There is another build version where you can dump strength and rely on elixirs. However, that would mean I'd have 2 builds that I'm relying on elixirs with, and I don't really want to do that here. I certainly could, and I'm going to occasionally, and you're going to see it coming up here in the fight we're about to get into, because I want the additional bonus damage from the strength modifier. But it's not something that I'm going to focus her build around. So I'm going to put her build around strength. And so for the starting skill points, these are good enough. I could drop another point off of, or another 2 points off of charisma, because again, I don't care about that. And up my constitution to 16 to gain me another set of hit points on top of that. You can see that takes me from 14 to 15. At this point, it doesn't really matter as much how I approach this build. It's not going to be finalized yet. Again, it's going to take a little while for hers to come online past level 5, which is where we're at right now. As far as the skills go, these don't really matter at all. She's not going to be doing any of these things that I need her to really, or that I need to do. Since I don't need to worry about intimidation, though, I will put that into nature. Just to have somebody with a plus out of that, since she's not going to be doing any talking to anybody. Okay, so for her level ups. Level 2, that obviously gets us our reckless attack and our danger sense. So reckless attack being the main benefit that you get out of level 2 barbarian. At level 3, we get to choose our subclass. And this is where the barbarian class has a huge amount of diversification on how you can choose here. Wild magic isn't normally something that you see played very often. It's much more popular in tabletop than it is in the game builds. But both Wildheart and Berserker offer some serious advantages to the barbarian based upon your build. We're going to focus on Berserker. That gets us the enraged throw bonus action here, which is what we're going to be focusing things around. And obviously our rage, or in this case, frenzy. We're going to get Searing Smite because of our tiefling background here, which adds us a good amount of fire damage, which is always good to have. Then we get to pick our first feat. Now we had picked Savage Attacker, which is a straight increase in damage, which was good to get us through the first few things. We're going to pick Tavern Brawler as our first, and this is going to allow us to up our strength to 18. So now we're at a standing +4 bonus to our strength, and that's to our damage and our attack rolls. But Tavern Brawler does something else here. When you make an unarmed attack, use an improvised weapon, or throw something, your strength modifier is added twice to the damage and attack rolls. Now that's kind of a bad wording. Whenever you do any of those things, you're going to be adding your strength bonus, the +4 we have right now, to your attack roll and then to your damage. And it always gets added in once. What Tavern Brawler does is adds it in again. It doesn't add it in twice, 2 more times, like it makes it sound. It just adds it 1 more time on top of that. So the +4s that we get to hit and to damage are now, instead of a +4, we're adding +8 to our attack roll and +8 to our damage. Those are flat numbers. Those numbers aren't a die roll. They're just a flat bonus. And the thing we're going to be focusing on is the fact that we can throw something. Because as we saw last time, the height difference and the weight of the thing that you're throwing add bonus bludgeoning damage. So now we're adding in our strength bonus twice to that damage. We're hitting with a +8 bonus to our attack roll, so it's almost guaranteed to hit every time. And we're going to be gaining throwing damage on top of that based upon any height differences we had. Remember, we also have the Ring of Flinging, which adds an additional 1d4 bonus to anything that we throw on our throwing damage. So we're now stacking up the throwing damage that we're getting from Karlach. And then the returning pike just means that hopefully that weapon returns to us whenever we throw it. Now for level 5 Barbarian, we want to stay here, and that's just because we earn extra attack. The additional fast movement is great for us. We're going to gain an additional 3 meters of movement speed. But the extra attack is a huge power bonus for her to have. We're also going to gain Branding Smite, which again is going to be very, very useful in Act 2, but it's radiant damage, which very few things even in Act 1 are resistant to. Okay, so now we've got Karlach set up as our kind of throwing build. Now what I want to do here is kind of turn...
How many die tomorrow?
I had another dream last night. The visitor came to me and ordered me to penetrate the heart of the very cult that's spreading the infection. It gave me a tadpole gift too, just like it did the first time it appeared. I suppose it hoped this would help. At first, I thought we should avoid these gifts no matter what advantage we gain. And yet, I can't help recall the words of my father. The best plan is the one that works. These powers could be enough to edge us towards victory. Very well. If it's mind games these parasites wish to play, we'll play. And we'll win.
Okay, now I want to stay in this conversation and move out to Astarion. Oh, it's actually... Is it really Lazels? It might be Halson's.
Moving.
I don't like the fact that there's a detection cone overlapping here.
Time for discretion.
I'm gonna wait. And I don't like the fact that Scratch patrols around out here either. I have had this happen before, and I'm going to save here actually before this happens.
Tricks. Some mild class in here.
Okay. So I was able to steal it, fine. So while we're here, let's go and talk with Astarion.
Ah, another. Thy name has been recorded. I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services. As thou desire.
Okay, and we're going to start off in a way that you're very familiar with, and then we're going to start departing from that, because I have a very specific build in mind for Astarion. So we're going to start off with Rogue. However, we're going to start changing up some of these ability scores here. And we're going to start by putting our +2 into Wisdom and our +1 into Dexterity. Now, seems a little weird starting out this way, but there is, like I say, we have a plan for how we want to approach this. And that's because we're going to need the Wisdom modifier here as we go. So we're going to leave our Dex up here at a +3 modifier. Our Wisdom is now a +3 modifier as well. The rest we can dump into Constitution. And this is definitely a min-max sort of build layout for Astarion, but it's going to start making sense as we go through this. Again, we can dump strength because he's always going to be under the effect of an elixir, so his strength does not matter. The dexterity is going to give us a +3 to our initiative rolls and a +3 to armor class if we're wearing light armor or no armor. Constitution giving us more hit points, very, very needed, and our Wisdom is going to come into play a little bit later. So we can look at our skill layout, and this is why I start with Rogue, is to give me a skill layout where I can start planning around certain things. Again, I don't need Performance and Persuasion. So Athletics, I'm going to pop 1 into there, and Insight, I'm going to pop another 1 into. My Sleight of Hand and my Stealth are where my expertise is going to stay. I still want him to have those skills for trying to avoid being seen on that first round of combat. Okay, so let's go ahead and confirm his start off with Rogue. And now we can go through his level ups. Okay, so at level 2 we gain our cunning actions, which are always very useful to have those as bonus actions. And at level 3 we get our subclass. Now we had chosen Assassin, which is great. In my estimation, if you're going for a rogue build, your Gloomstalker Assassin build is one of the highest damage output builds in the game. Being it, especially on that first round, his damage is going to significantly drop off after that first round because he's no longer getting crits against surprise creatures. But the Assassin subclass is massive, especially in the early game, to help you out. We're going to go a different way though, and we're going to go with Thief. Now Thief gets us an additional bonus action, and second story work means that we gain resistance to falling damage. Situationally very, very useful because there's so much verticality in this game, but it's really the additional bonus action that we want here out of this subclass. Okay, so now we get to level 4 and we have our first feat. Now, here's where things get a little iffy, because this build, if I want to focus on it now, doesn't really come into its own until level 7. And that's when I'm able to combine the multi-classes in a way that I can also get my first feat selection, which substantially ups that damage. However, we're still going to be able to get some benefits out of this, and we're going to start this off by continuing level 4 in Rogue and taking our feat, and we're going to again take Tavern Brawler. And we learned about this just a little bit ago. We're going to use it to up our Constitution this time. And that's why we put our Constitution at an odd number. And again, we're going to be focusing on unarmed attacks in this case. So with our unarmed attacks, we're now going to add our strength modifier to the damage twice and to the attack rolls twice. And why are we focusing on unarmed attacks? And that's because at level 5, we're going to get our first multi-class. We're not going to get our extra attack here at level 5 anyway. So we're going to move to Monk. Now, Monk is where we're going to be focused on for the rest of Astarion's build. And what this does is it gives us Flurry of Blows. Now, Flurry of Blows is a bonus action. It also uses something called a key point. And the number of key points that you have is based upon your monk level. And Flurry of Blows, as you can see, is a bonus action, and you punch twice in quick succession. So that means we're doing 1d4 plus our strength modifier onto Flurry of Blows, and we do it twice per bonus action. Now with Thief, that gave us an additional bonus action, so as long as we have 2 key points, we are able to use both bonus actions to attack with Flurry of Blows twice, which means there are 4 attacks, 4 separate hits that are landing. And because they are unarmed attacks, we're adding our strength bonus and to our damage and attack rolls twice, which means a +8 to hit and a +8 damage on each strike. Okay, and that's what's important there. We're also going to gain unarmored defense. While not wearing armor, you add your wisdom modifier to your armor class, and that's why our wisdom is where it is because we're going to not be focused on wearing armor with Astarion. We're going to be focused on wearing clothing with him and benefiting from our wisdom modifier to our armor class. We can also throw additional things on top of that, like mage armor and shield of faith, things like that, because we're not wearing armor. We have dexterous attacks, so attacks with monk weapons. A monk weapon is any weapon that the monk is proficient with. That does not mean like a quarterstaff or a club or something like that. Any weapon that I am proficient with becomes a monk weapon. So when I'm attacking with any of those, my attacks scale with dexterity instead of strength if my dexterity is higher. Well, right now my dex is higher, but here once I take the elixir, my strength is going to be higher. So I'll be using my strength to hit and damage instead. But you can work this with a dexterity-based character and just put your strength at 10 so you're not getting any minuses to it, and be using dexterity to hit with that build. Death Strikes, attacks with monk weapons and unarmed attacks, deal 1d4 bludgeoning damage unless their normal damage is higher. And that applies to your monk weapon. So if you're proficient with a weapon and you're doing more than 1d4, then you're going to be dealing higher damage with that base weapon attack. We're going to be focused on, for the most part, unarmed attacks with one exception. And then martial arts. We get a after making an attack with a monk weapon or when unarmed, you can make another unarmed attack as a bonus action. So what this is saying is that even if we run out of key points and we can no longer use Flurry of Blows, we can use our 2 additional bonus actions. We can use one of them to give us a bonus unarmed attack. It's not going to be hitting twice like Flurry of Blows does, but allows us to make another full unarmed attack with our bonus action, and with Tavern Brawler we're adding our strength to that again an additional time. So this is what's going to allow us to take advantage of all of the unarmed and strength bonuses that we're going to be getting. And now because of that, I need to start redoing some of his stuff. His armor class right now is 16. I'm gaining 13 from the armor and 3 from the dexterity. If I remove that and I add in simple robes, now you can see my armor class still stays at 16. I don't lose anything because my wisdom is giving me a +3 from my unarmored defense. I'm going to drop off both of my daggers, and we've been carrying Coralon's Grace around with us. Coralon's Grace becomes a monk weapon because I'm proficient with it. I gain a +1 bonus to unarmed attack rolls and damage. And then when the wielder is not wearing armor, I get a +2 bonus to saving throws. So now this is granting me a bonus to my unarmed attack rolls, which I get either from Flurry of Blows or after I make an attack with Coralon's Grace, my bonus action, Unarmed Strike. So I'm gaining an additional flat +1 damage, and since I'm not wearing armor on anything I'm wearing, I'm gaining a +2 to my saving throws. So Coralon's Grace is a great early game boost to your monk class. Sparkle Hands. On a hit with an unarmed attack, the wearer gains 2 lightning charges. Lightning charges is going to add a +1 bonus to all attacks after I gain those lightning charges. And I can stack those up and possibly use those lightning charges for other things as well. So those are going to become my default gloves to wear while I'm out and around. Now there is another set. If I'm going into a fight and I need my armor class, the Bracers of Defense are going to give me a +2 bonus to armor class as long as I'm not wearing armor or holding a shield, which I never will be. But if I'm trying to deal out additional damage, then the Sparkle Hands is going to give me an additional +1 to my damage. The other thing about the Sparkle Hands is that once I have lightning charges, all of my attacks are going to gain advantage against metal constructs and anybody wearing metal armor. So again, another thing that's very, very useful for the build that we're looking at here. I can also put on the Gloves of Power. And when I make an attack with Coralon's Grace, I could bane the target, which could be very, very useful as well. So I have some options here on how I want to stack up the build. In the one that we're going into, I'm going to sacrifice the lightning charges because we're not going to need the advantage. And I'm going to go for the armor class here. And next is, and actually I want to look at something. Because I can't remember when I got this. So let me look up something here real quick, because I think I think my bard is correct. Yes, this needs to stay. So my bard, it's a pure bard at level 5. What level 5 gets me is the font of inspiration. My bardic inspirations here come back after a short rest, which is important to be able to extend the time between my resting that I'm going to have. I'm probably going to, and it allows me to get these back, which allows me to use my flourishes more. Now, I do have a lot of camp supplies, so resting is not nearly that important anymore, but for now, I'm going to leave it how it is. And last, actually I need to bring Astarion back up here.
Watch your back. Like a wraith, a very penetrable pocket. Almost too easy.
Okay. And we're going to respec Gale.
A word.
Ah, another. Thy name has been recorded. I shall be here in thy camp for whenever thou hast need of my services. As thou desire.
Okay, so for Gale, we're going to start off slightly differently. And that's that we're going to start off with Sorcerer. The reason that we're going to start off with Sorcerer is because this is going to give us proficiency in Constitution saving throws. Okay, you can see that +2 from proficiency is applied. If I start in Wizard, I do not have an additional +2 from proficiency. If you multi-class into Sorcerer, you do not get that +2 from proficiency. It only comes up when you start off in Sorcerer. So I'm going to start in Sorcerer here. For my cantrips, a lot of these don't matter very much. But I do want Shocking Grasp. And I do want Firebolt. Firebolt's going to be very, very important for me coming up here. And for the first set here, I'm going to get rid of Chromatic Orb, and I'm going to add in Shield. I want Magic Missile, but I'm going to add in Shield. For my subclass here, there's not a whole lot that I need to think about here. Wild Magic is fun, but for Honor Mode, I think it's stupid. There's too much randomness involved here to take a chance with a non-savable and reloadable save. It's really Draconic Bloodline, which is going to give me additional hit points as I go, and that's because it's going to increase for each 1 hit point for each sorcerer level, but I'm not going to be taking a lot of sorcerer levels, honestly. What comes with this is additional armor class to start out, so you're better protected. Your Dragon Ancestor means you're going to be able to pick a certain type of spell that you're going to be able to get to cast for free, basically. The other option is Storm Sorcery, and Storm Sorcery is more focused on the elemental side of things, being able to fly as a bonus action whenever you cast a spell is very, very nice early on in the game. Now, I'm going to pick or stick with Storm Sorcery here to start. That's not how we're going to end up being. We're going to move back into Draconic Bloodline once we get farther down the road. But for now, being able to fly as a bonus action without receiving opportunity attacks is very, very useful for what we're going to be doing. As far as my ability scores, it's going to want to focus on Charisma. I'm not going to care about Charisma when we are looking at this. My Intelligence is what I'm going to be focused on. So I'm going to drop this back down. And there's a reason for this. It is the Sorcerer spellcasting trait. However, what we've picked for these are not class-based. So it's not a sorcerer spell. So it's going to work with either one of them. And when I multi-class here in a second, it's going to use the spellcasting ability of whichever spellcasting class I added last. Okay, and that's going to be Wizard. So it's going to swap it back to Intelligence. And that being said, our Intelligence wants to be up at 17. So this allows us to do a couple of things. Now, I've got a couple of points left here, and it's really Dexterity or Constitution on how I want to focus on these. If I bring my Strength up just so he does not have any negatives to his carrying capacity, that's certainly one way to go about this, and then upping either Dexterity or Constitution. Dexterity is going to put me in a position where if I want to use ability improvement, I can up both of these and gain an additional armor class and initiative roll, as well as a +4 to my intelligence. For our skills, again, we don't care about deception or intimidation, so we'll just put them in the other two. And now we can level up Gale. Okay, and here we're going to get a spell, and we're also going to get our first meta magic. Now, our first meta magic here is going to be based upon we have two that we can pick here. Careful is useful in that allies are automatically going to gain or succeed saving throws against spells that require them. However, it's only situationally useful. It's really distant, extended, and twinned to focus on. So spells that only target one creature can target an additional creature. So this is nice for your cantrips that you're only focusing on one. You can now focus on two. And the others are either distant spell or extended spell. I'm going to pick distant spell here. Melee spells get a range of 9 meters. And that could be very useful for the fact that we chose a melee-based cantrip in Shocking Hands. Okay, so for my spells here for level 1, Sleep is quite useful to start off with, and it may become extremely useful in this encounter we're about to get. It's not one I would normally pick, though. Okay, and at level 3, we're going to get Quicken Spell. This allows us to cast a spell as a bonus action, and we're going to gain our level 2 spells. Now, here, I'm going to pick Scorching Ray, and I need to pick this for a very particular reason. And then, out of these, I'm still okay with... Actually, yeah, I want to keep Sleep for now. I don't really want to have it. I would replace it here. That's a good point. Do I want to... No, I'm going to keep it for now, just because it might be very useful in this upcoming fight. Okay, level 4 Sorcerer is really going to gain us a feat, but I'm not interested in that. I'm now going to change to Wizard. And at Wizard, my cantrip selection here, again, I already have some of these from Sorcerer, so now I can focus on other things. And again, remember, things that are melee based, I can extend them with Extend Spell. So and then for my first level wizard spells. So here there's some things that I like and some things that I don't like. Which, again, we want to focus on some concentration stuff here as well while we're going through this. But for these, they don't really... Again, we're going to be respecking him here in a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of... No, I think that's my setup I want. And then level 2 is again going to be in Wizard. And here we get to choose a subclass. Now our subclass, we're going to pick something here that is going to be, it's for a very specific purpose. And that is Divination. Now what Divination gets us is, first let's pick a couple of spells here, because again, they don't really matter all that much. But Divination gets us Portent dice. Now, every long rest, we're going to gain 2 random Portent die. And we're going to be prompted, if we fail a roll, do I want to use one of those Portent dice to help either me or one of my allies affect that roll by using one of their Portent dice. Each Portent die can only be used once, and you lose any unused ones at the end of the day. So as far as preparations go, whoops. Okay, and now we're going to look and see what our Portent die are going to be after we take our long rest.
All is ashen.
Okay, so now we're done. So we're going to end our day here.
Cursed to put my hands on everything.
Zell appears at your bunk, her eyes raging with desire.
I need to be ready to turn this off because I don't know if I have streamer safe on. Okay, good. That's it. Whew. Good deal. I was worried there for a minute. Okay, so the last thing that we want to do is change up a couple of our options here, and because my carrying capacity is exceeded.
Trust no one.
Right. Okay, I don't have any of them on him. That's fine. And while we're here, I'm going to have Karlach drink one of those. And that's just for this fight. That's it. Okay, now Gale is proficient with light armor because he's human. Okay, and Astarion is now outfitted. Yes.
Never a dull moment.
So let's leave camp. Hey, Em, welcome. And now let's get our buffs going again. Okay, and we're gonna have Gale summon Shovel. Okay, and now you can see that he has access to fly. It pops up over here. Every time he casts a spell, he's going to have access to fly, and that includes any of his ritual spells or any spells that may be ritual spells as well. So keep that in mind. And for Gale, I want to make sure he's got the spell sparker on. We'll just give him this for now. Sure, I can give him these just for the heck of it. Hail of Thorns isn't going to be very useful here. And we're not going to need this for this encounter, so I think we're fine with this. Okay. Because now we are going to go get into a fight. And we're going to go get into a big fight. So, the first thing I'm going to do is just move everybody up here. And put everybody into hiding and break my group. Astarion is going to come out first. As soon as he gets down here, things are going to spawn in. Okay, and there they are. Okay, so we have more phase spiders, but we have the phase spider Matriarch. So this is where our bug hunt comes into play. And the phase spider Matriarch has a legendary action, and this legendary action sucks. I am not going to lie. The legendary action here is Gossamer Tomb. So once per round, if her offspring are attacked, so, and by her offspring, that means either the spiderlings, which come out of the spider eggs, or one of the phase spiders, the two phase spiders that are out here, either one counts. She can spend a legendary action to use Gossamer Tomb. Gossamer Tomb entombs a creature in web so that they cannot move, and they become infested. So again, we learned about infestation. We're going to be taking 1d8 damage, 1d4 from poison, 1d4 from piercing. But then, unless it's removed with fire or acid damage, this globe will eventually explode, dealing 8d10 poison damage. Okay, so it lasts for 3 turns, and when it's done, it explodes into a massive set of damage. And that damage can easily one-shot you. So the way to avoid Gossamer Tomb is to not attack any of the phase spiders or the spiderlings while the phase spider Matriarch is alive. Okay, that is the simplest, easiest way to go about doing this, is just make sure you only attack her. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's how we're going to avoid that legendary action. But to start, I need to stop talking and focus on this, because I can't mess this up. What we need to do is get rid of these spider eggs.
Be very, very quiet.
Okay, and that was kind of dumb. I should wait until the phase spider Matriarch turns around. And I need to be very careful watching Astarion back there and see if he has to move
Time to die.
to make any of these attacks.
Let's prowl.
Okay, so now the Phase Spider Matriarch's coming back. So this is going to take me a little bit because I'm going to be extra special careful here. I don't want to trigger this combat.
Finally. Ready or not.
Okay, and I'm immediately going back into hiding as soon as I finish it. Now, when you cross this bridge, you have to be careful. This Phase Spider down here can drop a detection cone on top of this, or right here at the edge. See, there's the detection cone. I'm going to cross to this side. This is the most dangerous part of this entire thing. I'm going to wait for the Phase Spider Matriarch to turn.
Not a sound.
And I'm going to move all the way back here to the back of this platform. You are not safe behind this rock. Okay? A lot of people make that mistake. You can watch her detection cone. See? You are not safe behind this rock. You're only safe toward the back of this platform. Okay, and now I'm going to go into turn-based mode.
Let's give someone a surprise. Into the shadows. Step carefully.
Okay, and that's how I'm going to do this. This is the safest way to go about doing it, is when the Phase Spider Matriarch is turned away, to go into turn-based mode, move up, attack, go into hiding, move back, and exit turn-based mode. Okay, and you don't want to do this when the Phase Spider Matriarch is here. You want her to be over here. So she's going to come back. I'm back past her detection cone. When she turns around, I will move forward. I'm going to wait for that Phase Spider down there to turn around, go into turn-based mode.
They won't see me coming.
Okay, and that time
On tippy toes.
I messed it up. That's just because I kind of waited around too long while I was explaining it, and the Phase Spider Matriarch turned around. So I kind of panicked a little bit.
Time to die. Just like old times. Silent as the grave.
Okay, because the goal is to get the Phase Spider Matriarch into turn-based mode with you. If you do it when the Phase Spider Matriarch's way out here, she won't enter turn-based mode with you. And that's what I messed up last time. So I've got 2 left here, or 3 left here to do. And again, this is being overly safe. You can do this without the whole turn-based thing. You certainly can. It's just a lot more dangerous. And since I am live and I've got 1 save at this, okay, so the Phase Spider Matriarch's in turn-based mode.
Won't know what bit him. Let's keep to the shadows.
2 more times, and we'll have cleared this out. Oh, hey, Eric, welcome. Sorry I didn't see you when you came in. I don't know what I was talking about when you said your players would throw a fit if you use that against... Oh, you're probably Gossamer Tomb. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a hellish legendary action, especially in tabletop where you don't know what the legendary actions of the creatures are.
Just like old times. Neither seen nor heard.
Uh-oh. Oh no, that was another detection cone. Okay, I'm good. I saw the detection cone shift and I thought she turned around. Because if she turns around, if she does detect something happening over here, then you need to immediately make your way back over here. Yeah, no, Gossamer Tomb is no joke. It is the first of the legendary actions that we have seen that can really, you know, kill one of your characters outright if you're not prepared for it. And this is the last one.
Let's keep to the shadows.
Now we need to cross back over here, but again, this phase spider looks like it might be coming back. So we're going to just be extra careful here. We've done well. We don't want to mess this up here by being impatient. All of these eggs are now gone. All of the eggs here are gone. We have one more set we have to deal with. And this set is by far the easiest. Okay, so come over here to this corner and start watching your detection codes. Because our last set of eggs is right here, these 5. Okay? And you want to watch where the detection cones land up here. So you can see there was one here. We kind of covered up this area. Okay, so this one doesn't appear to be causing a detection cone up here on top, no matter where it moves. And we're waiting for this phase spider to do its other walking, so it doesn't appear to be causing any problems either. And here it comes. So yeah, looks like we're clear up to this corner here. Okay, we'll just wait for this phase spider down here to come over and just make sure that we're clear. But we should be clear up to this corner. And again, this is a lot of prep work for this encounter, but it is all very, very necessary. And I'm going to throw an alchemist fire on this. Immediately go into hiding and move back. That's going to kill all of the eggs down here. And now all we have is the 2 phase spiders and the Matriarch. Okay, and now we need to plan out when we want to make our attack. And again, we are going to focus entirely on the phase spider Matriarch. So let's do a couple of things here. I need to see if I even have any Okay, so I do. So we're going to use these up because this is the fight to do it. We have 5 of these, so everybody is going to get one. This is going to gain resistance to poison damage, and you can no longer be poisoned. Poisoned is going to give you disadvantage on your attack rolls. These enemies are hard enough to hit as it is. We do not want to have that happen. So we're going to have Astarion drink one.
You're making me sweat.
Karlach.
This really isn't my forte.
Gale.
Caution never hurt.
And myself. Okay, now those last until long rest. Okay, so we're going to take half damage from poison. And then last thing we need to do is... Oh, yeah, because that's going to get rid of Astarions. That's right, I forgot about that. That's my fault. So I'm going to leave Karlach with it, but I'm going to remove Astarions. That needs to be back where it was.
Bitter business the light would fear to
Whoops.
shine on.
Okay. That needs... Why did I take that with... I hate this clicking thing. That goes to Astarion. Stop messing this up. Just slow down.
What to do?
And then here, my last one. Thank goodness I have another one of these left. We'll go here. Okay. So now, for Astarion, when do we want to trigger this? So the first thing to look at is these spider webs. If you examine them, they take double damage from fire and from acid. Okay. Now, if you look at his firebolt cantrip, it's doing 2d10 damage right now. Okay. So at the minimum, it's going to do 2 damage. At its maximum, and when I hit the spider web, at the minimum, it's going to do 4. I need to do 12 to kill a spider web in one hit, which means that I'm at 4 to 40 damage, and this has 12. So I have about a 65 to 70% chance that I'm going to kill the spider web with one cast of firebolt. Okay? And that's what I want to do here to start this off. I want to take advantage of the height here to drop the Phase Spider Matriarch down to the lower level. Okay, and here everyone should be in turn-based mode with Astarion. Okay, the Phase Spider here, Phase Spider here, and the Matriarch. So now I'm going to start this off with a Firebolt against the spider web from Astarion and hope that he causes enough damage to break it. Okay, he did, and he remained out of combat, which is actually bad. I need to be back on Astarion because we need to trigger a fight here. Oh, geez. Okay. Okay, so wasn't expecting to roll fail on initiative, but this is actually really, really good for us. I was hoping I would keep her down there and I'd be able to get a height differential attack with Karlach. Here I'm not going to have a height differential on this attack,
Ready for some good
but she is
news?
now up here with us. So I have access to everybody to use melee attacks and everything else against the Phase Spider Matriarch. So we're going to bring Karlach up here.
I'm nothing.
And actually, that's a good point. Actually, let's take Karlach back. I didn't bring it. And I should have. Did I not bring it? Or do I have it on somebody? Okay. Ah, there it is. Okay, and that is the vision of the Absolute. Remember, we crafted this from the owlbear and the shaft that we found on Edwin. There's an option here for us to utilize this since she's up here and we have access to melee attacks. This is going to do an additional 2d12 piercing damage whenever we attack with it. And yes, Em, you certainly do see a lot of barrels in my camp. And right now, the Phase Spider Matriarch is in a spot where she is not near anybody, and she's facing away from me. So I have an opportunity here to be able to capitalize on that as well. So let's actually go pick one of those up. And I want two of these.
Tell.
Yeah, we might as well. We've got them. But we don't have to. She's already taken a third of her hit points. And we can easily finish this off without her. Or without them. But I want to place these very, very carefully. Okay. And that's because they need to be over here. I do not want to knock her off of here for now. Okay, that's because I want to have access to the melee attacks from everyone. She's going to, her next turn, more than likely, she's going to teleport onto one of the other spider webs, and we can rinse and repeat this. But for now, I'm going to get Gale into this fight.
I venture forth.
That's because Gale has another firebolt cantrip. Hoping I'd be able to get the corner of it from up here. And I can. Okay, so boom goes the dynamite. That knocks the phase spider back this way, which is what I wanted to see.
Waiting with bated breath. Light on my feet.
Now our detection cone is shifted. And remember, Astarion hasn't even gone yet. Because he still has 2 bonus actions here with Flurry of Blows. So let's start these off since he's already in combat. Okay, and now he's still got another key point left. Okay, through 2 misses. That's a little crazy.
I can be subtle sometimes.
And we want to try and get rid of, so I've got a 75% chance with advantage there, 70% chance there, so let's back off. And let's actually try this from way over here. No, because she has the resistance. Can I get past? I cannot. So let's actually try and end this with my bard here. I'd like to keep Karlach out of this for now. So let's Slashing Flourish range. This is going to get me 2 attacks at 75% against the Matriarch. And I'm going to hit. Perfect. Okay, so now the phase spiders are going to get their turn, but I want to bring Karlach in now.
Light as air.
She's still out of combat. And now I have a huge height advantage over the 2 phase spiders. And let's do something else before I do that. I actually don't know if that's going to work. That's an interesting question. I don't know if swapping something out of somebody's inventory while they're in combat would bring me into combat or not. Because I don't want to step in any of these toxins or flames that are on the ground. If I do, that might bring me into combat. So it looks like I've got a path around here. Good. Okay, now this phase spider I'm not going to be able to hit from here. I can probably hit it from here. I may even be able to hit it from here. But let's see if I can hit this one with a throwing attack. I can. So a 99% chance to hit here on this one. So let's see how much damage we can do against this.
This'll help.
Okay. So again, my pike did not come back to me because reasons. Okay, and I would like to get Astarion back out of the way here because he does not have poison resistance.
On the way.
That's perfectly fine. And he's going after Astarion again. Thankfully missed.
Step to it.
What is he wearing that's interfering? With his spell casting. Oh, he just doesn't have any actions. Okay. Okay, I don't need a port. That port and die wouldn't do me any good. Wouldn't do me any good. Wow, missed all of them. Nice job.
Never a dull moment.
Okay, so I want to get in close here. Okay, so Astarion's now going to move in.
Spill some blood.
And then with his bonus action, he has an unarmed strike, and he missed. A lot of ones here today. And he failed his ethereal jaunt, or the game's just lagging. It's just lagging. Okay.
Knight to King 5.
So again, I'd only be 45. Let's get rid of this one out here for sure, if we can. Roll high, and he rolled low, of course. Get him out of the way, just in case.
No choice but to keep going.
Boy, there's a lot of misses.
My turn.
Just a lot of misses. %, chance. Okay. Alright, so the only thing that went wrong there was I rolled low on initiative. That was it. Everything else went okay. And the returning pike is going to be a recurring thing. I think what causes it is this. When you throw it, if you are not next in the initiative order, or your turn does not continue, it will not return to you. So in that case, what happened was we threw it, Karlach rolled behind the phase spider in initiative, so she wasn't able to go. The green circle for go to the next person in the initiative order pops up. So I think when that happens, the game kind of bugs out a little bit, and it won't allow it to return to you. If you manage to get in front of them in the initiative order, then I think it works. I've seen this thing come back to me at the start of combat. I've seen it not come back to me at the start of combat. It's very, very strange as to when it works and when it doesn't work. So we're going to keep testing it as we go. But again, that's the deal behind, or the thing with returning weapons. And the returning pike seems to be the worst at it that you're going to find. But as for the rest of the combat, everything else went very, very well. The only damage we took was the first set of damage from the Phase Spider Matriarch against Astarion because he rolled low in initiative. Without or with him rolling first, then what I would have done is moved him farther back or taken him into hiding and bring my other characters into that fight like I did. Because then I could have protected him from that, because I knew he did not have poison resistance. He was the only one without it. But as far as everything else, went really, really well. So yeah, it's one of those things, Em, that I'm just not entirely sure how well the game has coded some of the returning stuff. We'll experiment with it here as we go, because yeah, while it's in the air, it does put you into combat as soon as you throw it, and it hasn't necessarily landed yet, and I think that kind of breaks the whole returning mechanic when it messes up the initiative. So the Face Spider Matriarch is going to get us the Poisoner's Robe. So when you cast a spell that deals poison, you deal an additional 1d4 poison damage. It's not that useful for any of the builds that we're going to be utilizing here.
With haste.
And I want to be doing this with Astarion because he's got the boots. But again, the silk glands for web grenades are very nice.
I'll just help myself.
We're gonna head down here. We'll do a little bit of extra searching here, and then we'll head down. Okay, we'll just do a quick look around down here. And we'll head over for the reason we really came down here. And that's the Dark Amethyst.
I wonder what's hiding down in all that darkness.
And there is something down there. They added these voice cues in patch 3, I think, to let people know that there actually is something down here. If you choose to jump into some of these, it's going to say death. However, that is not the case for all of them. And if you have a way to mitigate fall damage, say I'm jumping down in here and I'm taking hit point damage, it doesn't say death. That's because this is another way into the Underdark, if you're not aware of it. Now, one thing that's funny to realize is that back in the old days, when you used to be able to knock the Face Spider Matriarch into chasms, which you cannot do in honor mode anymore, she would just teleport back out. But in the old days when you could do it, you could knock her into this chasm over here, and you would actually encounter her in the Underdark. So it was actually kind of funny. That's why everyone would try and angle her to get her dropped into these, which cause death. But the one in the middle does not. So it was kind of funny the first time you knocked her into there and she disappeared. And then you were walking through the Underdark and she pops up in the Underdark and you're totally unprepared for the combat. It was actually pretty funny to watch. There's some good YouTube videos of the reactions that people get from seeing it happen. Okay, and here's the Whispering Depths waypoint. We don't need it anymore. You can sneak down here and activate it. And then that gives you another way to get back here if you need to take a long rest or something like that. We just didn't need to do that. Yeah, that's what a lot of people did, David. That was the OG way of dealing with her, was knocking her into any of the death chasms to get rid of her. You missed out on the Poisoner's Robe, but it's always been
a lot on my mind. And
a fairly worthless robe, in my opinion. So it wasn't really something that anybody cared about. But yeah, what used to be the old way of doing it, now you can't do that anymore, though. Well, not on honor mode anymore.
give up now.
Okay.
Breathe deep and move.
So I'm going to move everybody around this simple toxin pool just because I hate watching people walk through it because they're stupid.
If you insist.
Careful, I bite. One step at a time.
Okay. And we didn't even need to bring Shovel in.
Light on my feet.
Shovel was going to be fairly useless in that combat anyway because they have detect invisibility. So he couldn't get close enough to start that with a surprise round even if he wanted to. But we weren't going to. We were going to drop her on the first round no matter what. Okay, so we are finished exploring down here in the Whispering Depths. So the adventure now is going to take us into the Underdark, and we have another hour here, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And okay, that's interesting. Oh, that's right, I did not unlock the waypoint when I went there. That's right. And yes, that's the other thing about her, is if you get her knocked into the Underdark, you can revive her as well with Glut. We're hopefully going to have a much better ally down there, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And actually, that's a good point. Do I want to do that now? No, I'm going to do that at the start of next week. Okay, so we do get a journal update because it wanted us to go back here to the Underdark to make our way, or to the Goblin Camp to make our way through the Underdark. And we'll do that. Saza's still sitting here waiting for us. She's going to teleport once we leave Act 2. She does not teleport like Minthara does. But we'll go over here and check. And Minthara's body should be gone. And it is. So we now know that she is going to be in Act 2 when we find her. Saza does not transport because we did not knock her out. So she does not transport like Minthara does. But we don't have to knock her out to get her to appear. Okay, so we're going to make our way into the Underdark here. And one thing we don't want to forget to do is here. Astarion has an elixir of hill giant strength. So he's going to jump over to this platform. And he's going to jump down here. And search the skeleton. And pick up another elixir of hill giant strength. Just be very careful when you're jumping around, because you can very easily click somewhere else you don't want to.
Wretched thing, pull yourself together. Time to press
And remember,
ahead.
we've already been down here in the Underdark. We came down here to pick up Melf's first staff on the Myconid colony. Yeah, if you haven't seen that before, there's a body over there. It shows up on the map. You can see the platforms. That's kind of your hint that there's something out there. Now we're going to head back into the Selunite Outpost, which is down here at the base of the ladder.
Just when I was getting used to the sky again.
Fear not, Karlach. Sun, moon, and stars will still be there, waiting for us.
While we're here, we're
Meanwhile,
just going to
this
pick up
place
the
is
torch.
Pretty spectacular, isn't it?
No book or painting.
And we're again
can ever
going
do
to
its
start
strange
picking
beauty
stuff up
justice.
with
But perhaps our stories
Astarion.
might, when we return to the surface.
Tread carefully. Don't mind if I do.
Okay, now we could have him lockpick his way in here. We just don't have to do that.
It's mine now.
Okay, so we just walk around and pick these up. You can have a small interaction with the Bulette if you interact with the hole near the hook horrors. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever done that before. Because I don't end up going that way before I come back to the Bulette, but I guess I can do it. We can see what that entails. Okay, so this goes to Gale. Both of these go in here. All of this will go in a trash bag. And let's go ahead and send that trash bag off to camp. And let's see if we can do something here. Okay, stop with
Still
the
in
cameras.
control. Just.
What a day.
The cameras have been really glitchy here in the Underdark. I don't remember them being this glitchy when I was here previously in my other playthroughs that were, you know, several patches ago. But they seem to get caught up on things a lot more often now. Here's the key that we want.
Don't mind if I do.
Okay, and in this room, we'll trigger the waypoint. Now in here, there's a bunch of logbooks and things like that. None of them are necessary to read. They're just going to give you a little more lore about what happened down here in this area and why the Selunite outpost is here and what purpose it was serving. But again, just like always in honor mode, we're looting everything that is not locked down. Okay, and now Astarion has a high wisdom score.
Mind.
And that can be
These beasts
useful
have seen everything.
because perception is a wisdom-based skill.
Watch the shadows.
Okay, and that's going to use the Selunite key. They'll immediately move down here. We pass the perception check on the wall. We're going to immediately move in here. And we pass the perception check on the chest. And we still got guidance.
Let's crack it open.
Ooh, good thing we've got advantage. Rolling those 3s and 4s. And I should have Mark of the Shifter on here as well. This is going to get us the luminous armor. This is going to be part of a very important part of specific builds that we start dealing with, especially for Shadowheart and things like that. But it can also be very useful for Karlach. And the reason is that she has Searing Smite. Or that, yeah, she had, no, not Searing Smite, Branding Smite, which does radiant damage. So she can utilize that to cause a radiant orb explosion around her and give enemies around her
Is that blood?
stacks of
No,
radiant orb.
Never mind. If not over, then through.
Keep your distance, darling. Easy.
Still alive, so that's progress. Swift as my feet can carry me.
Okay, so the luminous armor that we picked up here, again, compared to what Karlach is wearing, it's the same armor class. Okay, so we're going to give up taking 1 slashing damage for being able to cause a radiant shockwave, which we learned previously gives radiant orb to all enemies within a 3-meter radius. And since she does have the ability to use Branding Smite, which causes radiant damage, now she can cause Radiating Orb to proc on anybody around her as well. And I need to make sure she gets the returning pike back. And I think I can get rid of this now. Vision the Absolute. Yes, can go back to camp.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Okay, and now here I'm going to split my group. I'm going to put my Bard up here.
What a charmer.
I'm going to put Karlach up top.
Which way
I'm
to
going to put
nearest
Gale
library?
over here.
That way.
No one stopped me yet.
Bard's going to go into hiding.
One with the
Gale going to go into hiding. Shovel is going to go invisible.
Wanna dance?
Karlach needs to be specially placed. He's going to go into hiding, and now Astarion.
Go.
So we're going to head out the gate here.
Very well then.
before we do that, we're going to get rid of the Moonstone here.
Just like old times. They won't see me coming.
Okay, I'm gonna wait for him to come
Whatever's in
back.
the air, it tastes foul.
Oh, we'll give it a minute here. We can do a couple of other things while we're down here. Okay, so he should be coming back. Here he is. We're going to enter into turn-based mode. We're going to launch a sneak attack against the Minotaur. I don't need to have any key points back here for this. I mean, I probably should do it anyway, just to be... I probably should avoid this. And just click long rest. Or short rest. I don't have to.
See what's new horrors waiting for us.
But I might as well. Because I want to see if I can generate a surprise round against the Minotaur here. If I can, those key points will be very valuable. If I can't, it is what it is. Okay. Let's see if we can generate a surprise round here. Perfect. Okay, so now I can move up here.
Be quick.
Oh, jeez, look at that damage. I might... Oh, it's so sick. Oh, I love it. I love it. So that is what Astarion can do. That was 117 hit points at level 5 that he was able to remove with, I believe, only one crit, right? Yes. The first attack roll with the Titan String Bow was a crit, and that crit landed for 24 points of piercing damage. Okay? However, the flurry of blows here is what really made this special, and that's because I didn't highlight this, and I don't know if I'll be able to get him. I can. So that's interesting. He became... Wait, I'm looking to see the interaction here. What happened? So I failed my stealth check. That was good. Surprised. That was fine. Okay, landed flurry of blows. I'm looking at the damage at the very bottom. So look at what happened for the attack roll at the top. +3 for proficiency. That's from my my proficiency bonus, +5 from Tavern Brawler, so it added in +5 bonus to attack, +1 from Coralon's Grace, +5 from the Strength modifier. So my attack roll was a 28. My damage roll was 1d4 bludgeoning +5 strength +5 strength from Tavern Brawler, and then +1 from Natural Pugilist. He was vulnerable to bludgeoning damage. I'm not entirely sure why he was vulnerable to bludgeoning damage. I'm not sure why that happened. That's interesting that he was somehow vulnerable to it. But every one of the 4 strikes, he was vulnerable to damage, so it doubled the damage. So, but yes, that is what Astarion can generate from a damage perspective. And now he's invisible, so this Minotaur isn't going to know what to do. Oh, that's exactly it, Em. Good call. Good call. I forgot about that entirely. He's wearing the Amulet of the Unworthy. That's why. I had seen that previously in my other playthrough and had completely forgotten about it. It granted vulnerability to bludgeoning damage to him because of this amulet he was wearing, and that's why. Yeah, it wasn't the ring, it's the Amulet of the Unworthy. So yes, completely forgot about that. But I want this Minotaur to stay in the fight here.
Leave no trace.
I want him to move down here a little bit. Okay, so good. Dropped out of combat. So now, combat is reset entirely, and I can focus on the other Minotaur. And now I can do this with anybody I want, however I want, but I'll do the same thing. I'll try and trigger a surprise round here. I don't need to get my... you know, I might as well. What the heck. I'm going to be taking a long rest anyway when I get up here to the vendors. So, might as well. I'm going to wait for him to come back down here, and I'll trigger another surprise round. Hopefully.
Quietly.
Okay, so now I know where his detection cone ends. Okay, so let's see if we can trigger a surprise round here. Ooh, he didn't even find it. Okay. So we're not going to trigger a surprise round here. So let's get ready with control. Succeeding on stealth checks. You just keep going, Astarion. You just keep going. Oh, I'm gonna love this build so much. I'm gonna love this build so much. He just kept succeeding on stealth checks. Over and over and over again. And as long as he keeps attacking, even if he's missing, he's stun locking the Minotaur, basically. The Minotaur isn't able to take any actions, he isn't able to move, he isn't able to do anything as long as I keep attacking. Now, that will obviously end once I pass a stealth check. However, what Astarion's build is going to be based around is a combination of the stealth archer and tavern brawler monk. So he's going to be focusing on the Titan string bow with strength bonus damage to be able to do it, but he's also going to have the ability to be able to have pass without trace cast on him, which is going to give him a flat +10 bonus to his stealth checks. With his dexterity being as high as it is, then and there's going to be gear later on I'm going to find that gives you advantage on stealth checks. And then you have a 0.25% chance of getting knocked out of stealth. Basically, your stealth rolls are so high that the only way they can be failed or actually I take that back, it's a 0.5% chance. The only way you can fail is if they roll a nat 20 on their stealth check, or I roll a nat 1 on my stealth check. That's the only way it's going to fail. And that means you can just keep that Nova damage going over and over and over again. And I've seen a YouTube video of somebody actually doing this against Raphael and getting nearly 2/3 of his 666 hit points off before they dropped out of stealth and started the actual fight. So that's the sort of stuff that we're going to be dealing with his build. So for now, we're going to head all the way back here and we're going to group everybody up.
What's in here?
And we'll do some searching. We no longer have to be in stealth.
Come on, let's go.
Because they weren't even needed. So what the plan was, and the reason Karlach's up here.
Hey, good looking.
Is that a thrown attack can reach all the way out here. She has to be standing in the middle of one of these broken ones. This one's blocked by the rope. So she's standing here. She can launch this attack all the way out to there. And look at that height difference. It's a massive height difference. When she throws this pike at 8.1 kilos, I think is what it weighs, this thing does an additional 25 points of bludgeoning damage when it hits from that height. So having her on the high ground, even if it doesn't return the pike to you, that's a huge, that's 30% or 22% of their hit points gone just in the bludgeoning damage from that. Plus the Tavern Brawler adding +10 damage, plus the damage of the pike itself, adding another 8, give or take. So you're looking at taking off 1/3 of their hit points in one alpha strike by throwing it from here. So that was the original plan. I just didn't need it. Because Astarion is just Astarion.
What have we here?
So now we'll loot up all of this stuff. And again, more journals. There's a lot of lore down here from when this was. Basically, this whole thing here is left over from the war. The Staff of the Moon Maiden, there's nothing special about it. It's just cool looking. I mean, it's just a regular quarterstaff in and of itself, though. And normally, my plan here was to actually fight the Bulette, but I'm not going to. Because I've seen the hole in the ground that Lord Henry is referencing. I have always, even in my personal playthroughs and my off-stream honor mode playthrough, have killed the Bulette right now. And that means, I guess, what's happening is that there is no interaction at that hole because the Bulette's already dead. I would like to see that, and I'm going to use the live stream to do it. So that means that we're not going to kill the Bulette here. Like we normally would. We will head over by the hook horrors. We will deal with the enemies over there. We'll pick up the susser bark and do all of that sort of stuff. Before. Now here's our first interaction with the Bulette. Another thing to let you know that the Bulette is near. And it certainly is near. And this is the place that I'm going to be dealing with the Bulette, is right here. The main reason for it is, one, I can control where the Bulette goes, and I can control what happens to my character who initiates the fight. The Bulette is going to track from top to bottom, and I have rocks and mushrooms on either side to block me from getting knocked into chasms. So I can come down here, the Bulette will track from behind me, knock me down, and it tends to knock me backwards. And the Bulette ends up way down here. Now, if the Bulette is down here, and you are standing either up here or up here, again, a severe height advantage for a thrown weapon. And I can gain a lot of additional bonus damage from the returning pike by throwing it from either of these two high points. So then the Bulette will track back toward me, but its movement kind of sucks. And then I'll have an entirely another round, hopefully if the returning pike comes back to me, to do it again. If not, I've got everybody else on the high ground up here to be able to launch attacks against it with relative safety. So this is the best place to fight the Bulette. The easiest way to manage it. The other thing is, you do not want to jump from this side over to here. As soon as you do, the Bulette will trigger, come down, it will land right here, and it has a really high chance of knocking whoever jumped across into the chasm. That happened to me in one of my personal playthroughs, and it will never ever happen again. So now we have these night lights. The night lights require a nature check, I believe. Remember, we have proficiency in nature for everybody who's under Sylvanas' blessing. And Gale has a +6, Astarion has a +2, so Gale is the best at nature. I honestly can't remember if it's nature or not, but
let's move.
It's been a while since I've picked these.
Quite ready for you.
Let's just click on one and see if it is. Yes, it's nature. So he's got advantage on all of the checks interacting with those. And the only way you get a Nightlight Frond is if you pass that check. Nightlight Fronds are what you're used to be able to craft the Hearthlight bombs. So I'm going to pick up
horizons.
As many of those as I can by making sure that he's got guidance and still has Sylvanas' blessing. It takes a while for the Nightlight Fronds to register into your inventory. It's going to take a while for them, but they are all going to be there.
Nothing hurts anymore.
Now for this, for one of the best weapons in the game, I need either a strength check or an arcana check. Now, Gale, again, if I look at my arcana, Gale has a +6 to arcana. Astarion has a +8 on athletics because of his proficiency, as well as the elixir of hill giant strength that he's wearing, or that he's running right now. So
let's move.
Let's head up here and see if we can wrench this out.
A slender drow blade impales the stone before you, keeping a silent vigil.
I could add in advantage here. I can also add in a bardic inspiration. There it is. There it is. And then I didn't need any of that. Will I test the spear?
People for the blade.
Oh, you
With
mean
another hard
the
weapon
vision of the
slips
absolute?
stone.
Sure. I can try that. That's going to be next week. But yeah, I mean, remind me. That means you have to be here. But remind me about it, and yeah, I can do that. So, Falar Aluv, we've talked about it before. It's one of the best items in the game, from both the Shriek and the Sing ability. Shriek gives all enemies within a 6-meter range a 1d4 penalty to all of their spellcasting saving throws, so it allows you to land those debilitating spells much easier. And any damage that you do is going to deal an additional 1d4 thunder damage. Now that is a damage rider that applies to all damage sources. So that means multiple attacks with things like Magic Missile, Scorching Ray, Flurry of Blows. All of those things are going to get a 1d4 thunder damage rider on top of every one of their hits. So it really does a lot of extra damage. However, the other big benefit that's often overlooked is Shriek. Is Sing. Sing gives all allies a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and Charisma, Wisdom, and Intelligence saving throws. Now, this is really important because it stacks with Bless. So with Bless, you can have 2 1d4 bonuses to saving throws. Where does this become extraordinarily handy? The Zaythisk, where you have to pass 3 different sets of saving throws that are all based around different spellcasting ability modifiers. This allows you to stack up Sing and Bless for a 2 to 8 bonus on all of those rolls. And when you're trying to pass 10, 15, and 20 DC check, or 18 DC checks on those, this can be a massive bonus to add on top of this. This is going to come in very, very handy when we go through the Zaythisk and we try and get the Awakened permanent buff, where we are going to be able to cast or utilize our Illithid powers as bonus actions. Okay, this is a key component of that. And we can actually get it so that we have almost no chance of failing the Zaythisk. Even though it's one of the hardest set of checks, second only to the Mirror of Loss. We can get it so that we are... We can get it so that we are all over a 99% chance to pass it. So now we're going to continue making our way toward the Illithid colony. And again, Gale is going to get guidance.
No rest for the wicked, I see. My pleasure.
Oh, there it is. Had to be a nat 1 in there somewhere for that to happen.
Must have fallen.
Okay, so just going to continue making our way around and picking up all of these items before we head up to the Illithid colony. Or, I mean, to the Myconid colony. Okay, here we're going to break our group and we're going to separate this, take it with us.
Well, hello. Be careful. There are traps about.
Okay, the only way to fail these is with double nat 1s. And I just rolled a nat 20. I'm hoping that just makes up for the nat 1 I rolled a little bit ago.
Oh dear. Someone's left a trap out for us.
And it doesn't mean I'm going to roll another one. Now you don't have to disarm these, as I mentioned in my previous playthroughs. If you fail these or you don't receive them and it blows up the netting, you can jump up to here and then jump up to there. So you still have a way to get up there even if you fail it.
Step lightly.
More shakings from the Bulette. And we're going to loot everything up here. We're going to get a behind-the-scenes check here in a minute.
The Black Network's mark. Spies, murderers, and thieves ahead, I guess.
So he recognizes that it's the Zhentareim. This is their storeroom. You can access this from the Zhentareim hideout by sneaking around and utilizing the key on the lift to make your way down here. We'll see the lift here in a second. This is just a far easier way to get to it. here... I have some glowing gems down here that you're going to see periodically.
Hardly a challenge.
And you don't have to destroy these, but you will pick up an occasional item that you can sell. And that's the purple fluorite shards. I don't know of any other interaction to be had with them, or any consequences to destroying them, except for one other location. Or two other locations. You don't want to be destroying these when you're within view of allies or people that are not hostile, because you will generate a negative attitude towards you if you destroy them. So like if you go over and the drow were still alive after you're done with the spectator fight, if you try and kill the glowing gems around them, you'll have negative attitude with them, and eventually they'll drop down enough that they'll attack you. And see the cameras, like I say, the cameras are very weird down here now. I don't remember them ever being this wonky. But it has been a year or so since I've been down here in this particular area. But you can see with his unarmed strikes how much damage he's doing. I mean, that's one hit, and he's doing, you know, that was a crit, probably. Oh, it was just vulnerable to the bludgeoning damage. So yeah, you can see when they're vulnerable to bludgeoning damage, he hits really, really hard. So I need to make sure I cast guidance here before I move over toward this chest, and he passed the perception check.
Someone's left a trap out for us.
That chest is scripted. You always get the same things out of it. We'll just search these last few crates. Ooh, we had one. Power of advantage. Okay, and that's everything up here. Oh, nope. Got the torch. Actually, it's not everything up here. I don't think this one drops one, though. Oh, it did. Okay. And you can see, I don't know if you're noticing. I'll do it again. You can trigger your unarmed strike by attacking inanimate objects. Okay, and it takes a turn for it to go away. But that is actually a way to trigger that before you get into anything. So that way you can have your, if you're out of key points, you can trigger that and have it available to you before you, and use your action for like a sneak attack ranged or something before you go into combat. And then have that bonus action to be able to unarmed strike after that is done. So it's a way to kind of set things up to get you some extra damage on that first round. Okay, so we'll head up this way. Do the last bit of searching here. We definitely... I knew it. Thought I walked too close.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times. That's curious.
Okay, some really good poisons in here and stuff like that to pick up, but the Scroll of Sleetstorm, this one's scripted, by the way, is going to be very, very useful for us once we get into the fight down by the shore.
Keep your distance, darling.
There are Timask spores on the ground here, but when you have a short amount of time to pick them up. However, it's just not worth it, in my opinion, to go walking in there and take the chance that your party's going to come under attack from your own people. Okay, we've already been up there. Because if you fail the saving throw on the Timask spores, you go mad. And it can possibly lead to you being attacked by your own people. More Bulette. I'm gonna have to get used to that because he's normally dead by now.
Timask and torch stalks. Hell of a combination.
Not anymore, it's not. Now that we've cleared it all out.
One, blown up by the other.
And again, do not jump across that from here to there. Don't do it. Well, if you want to drop a save before you do it, and then go do it, it's really funny to watch what happens.
And Mike in the bodies. Someone's been fighting.
Whoops, wanted to cast that on Gale.
Your desire, not a problem. I venture forth.
Yeah, and that nat one.
Careful, I bite. Let's go.
We're not going to go down into the Decrepit Village. We're just going to pick up the stuff here at the entrance.
What's this? The camp looks abandoned. And rightly so.
Just going to go this way to unlock the map. There's nothing else over here. Oops, forgot a rogue's morsel down here, it looks like. Okay, so let's head in here.
Still breathing, despite everything. Need to find a way forward.
To the Myconid colony. Remember, we very briefly visited the Myconid colony just to go over and talk to Blurg over here and do some trading. We're going to up his attitude, and we're going to up the attitude of Dareth Bonecloak down here as well. I will do that off stream. We've all seen me do it before. Basically go to camp, respec to level 1, come back here as level 1, donate 400 gold to each one to up their attitude, and then once you've done that, then you can level back up to get your persuasion up and you go buy from them. We will purchase items from them at the beginning of next week's live stream. But for now, we need to go talk to Thulla here.
I want to have a word.
Don't.
Her condition is familiar. Poison, derived from a wild weed common to the Underdark. She'll need an antidote soon, most likely held by the poisoner.
And again, that was a nature check. We have proficiency in nature, so it just added to our chances to do it. If you have an antidote on you, somewhere in your bags, you can give her one.
Gods! Whatever that is, I needed it. Why are you helping me? No arguments there. Felt like a hook horror was sorting through my guts. But that cure did the trick. Quick, sharp too. I thank you for your help, but I gotta get moving. Oh, Carl's garters. Oh, I don't have time for this. My kin need me. Maybe not, but you are. I need you to rescue my kin. We can pay. We're Ironhand Clan, best artificers in Baldur's Gate. We were on an expedition down here when the Dwergar snatched us up. I got away, but not the others. The Greys have them digging out some old ruin across the lake. Just mining for materials. Nothing unusual. But our work pays well. Help my clan, and we'll make it worth your while, I swear.
So if you pass the insight check there, you can learn more about what they're really doing.
Thank you. Only wish I could go with you. But here... I nabbed these boots from the Greys when I ran. I'll feel better knowing you're using them to kick some Dwergar ass. I'll mark where I made my escape, and... wait here, I suppose. Not much choice, eh?
Okay, and that gets you the Boots of Speed. The Boots of Speed are awesome. It basically gives you the ability to dash and disengage all at the same time. It's not true disengage because instead of not provoking opportunity attacks, the enemies just have disadvantage on those attack rolls against you, but it's still very, very close to being able to do both. And now we'll go talk to the Sovereign.
The Myconid means to raise the dead.
The Sovereign's thick fingers stroke the corpse at its feet. A droning melody greets you as the creature turns its gaze to you.
Flesh talker, I show you a memory. Watch and listen.
A violent vision grips you. Dwergar, dark dwarves chopping Myconid remains.
They broke our peace. They killed our young.
The Sovereign's song slows to the pace of a dirge. It is still in mourning.
We laid waste to many, but intruders remain. Lakeward.
The Sovereign Song halts as it measures your worth.
I sense your resolve. You will find Duergar invaders near Lake's Edge. Cleanse the rot. Destroy them.
I suppose such wicked killers deserve wicked ends.
Deep purples swirl into familiar shapes. Gnomes in mining gear, chased by Duergar.
The Duergar seek a gnome. It is a guest.
The Sovereign says nothing, but you hear appreciation in its song. An illusion comes over you. A Duergar choking on a cloud of gleaming dust.
Accept this gift. It will help you exterminate.
The Sovereign gifts you one more vision. A wall of vines parting to reveal glowing light.
Riches of magic and mind. Cleanse the rot, and they are yours. You do the Circle a service. We will await word. We breathe life into our enemy's flesh. The dead make a fine host for my growing children. You may not. The spores hear only the Circle. They dance to no other harmony.
Okay, they're going to give us, the Sovereign's going to give us haste spore grenades to help out with this. So what we're going to do, actually, how about we run a little bit, just a couple of minutes long. I'm sure you guys won't mind that. Okay, so here's Dareth. We're gonna up her attitude. But let's talk to her
the
first.
shrooms are letting in more people every day. You see a fella on his own on your way in. Dwarf. Balin's his name. Right. Never mind. My useless husband. Sent him for an errand. It's no surprise he's made a mess of it. Knock yourself out. But don't come begging for coin if you find him. You try to ransom him to me, you'll find yourself skint and stuck with a fat old lout. Bald, blue tunic, dumb as a stick.
Alright, we won't do any shopping here. Again, we'll start off next stream doing that. We're gonna walk up forward here.
Fleshwalker, tongue talker. Far you've come. Reach into memory. Tell me of home.
Hey, you do have a dark urge option here.
It shudders, twisted by your brutal honesty. It reveals its own home in reply. A humid cove filled with decaying myconid corpses.
Duergar destroyed my people. I am a sovereign with no circle. This circle does not welcome me. But I have heard the song. You mean to cleanse the Duergar rot. I mean to join you. I am the danger, and I am the cure. They erased my people. I will erase theirs. In death, your foe becomes your ally. I will raise it. You may command it. Remain in the Underdark, and I will follow. We cleanse the rot together.
Okay, so now Glut is attached as a companion, not a summon. Like, we can't separate him from us, which makes things kind of interesting. But we're going to head out here real quick. I'm not going to do a whole lot. Except for this. This is the hole that Lord Henry was talking about earlier. I do have Speak with Animals on. Lord Henry, this isn't going to kill me, is it? Please tell me this isn't going to kill me. I'm going to wait for you to respond. Because I have never done this before. So I'm trusting y'all. I'm not going to spawn him right here or anything. Am I? Just let me know in chat before I click on it. Yeah, I know there's a delay in the stream here, so it may take a bit for a response, but okay, good. All right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and click on it.
Even with your keen eyesight, the hole below you soon plummets into an abyss of impossible darkness. Your call echoes as it plunges downward, before gradually fading away.
Quiet! Or your mate will fill my belly.
I wonder what happens if I actually click that.
You disturb me still. Enough. Away from here.
Okay, very, very interesting. Like I say, I have never clicked on that hole with the Bulette still alive. So that is an interaction in the game that, like I say, I think I told you last week or the week before, I officially passed 1,000 hours on Steam, added to the 287 hours or 289 hours I had on Mac before I played. So in 1,200, 1,300 hours now of playing it, that's the first time I've ever seen that. So, but yes, it obviously is the Bulette, because if you kill the Bulette, you do not have that interaction. It's not the voice I expected from the Bulette, but it is. It's got to be the Bulette. Nothing else makes any sense. So, but I wanted to see that, because next week I'm going to do some things off stream with selling the inventory and raising attitude. So we're going to start inside the Myconid colony next week, and next week we are going to go kill the Bulette. We're also going to go kill the Spectator, and we are going to work our way through the Arcane Tower. So we've got a lot of stuff going next week, and I wanted to get this out of the way because the Bulette is going to be one of the first things to die when we get to next week. So that gets us to a good spot to take our break today. And again, thank you all for being here, and especially, like I say, things like this are a joy to me, and to learn from chat and be able to experience these things after all these hours playing the game. So I certainly do appreciate it, because as always, without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jerval saying until next time, fare thee well.